See, everybody is addicted to social media and it's okay. You just need to accept the fact that you are normal and you are just like everyone else. Now, this is not an insult. I know a lot of times on our channel we say that, oh, you're average and like that's kind of an insult. But this is, at this point of time, I truly don't believe that there's a problem with being addicted to social media. And I have had some crazy situations with people who are addicted to social media. I remember this one time I was in bedroom with a girl and she just wanted to keep watching TikToks. It was just so weird for me. And at that point I realized what true addiction really is. And odds are you don't have the true addiction. In fact, if you have the ability to watch this video from start to end, then you don't have true addiction. And so please watch this video from start to end. It gives me watch time as well. The problem is not that you're addicted to social media. The problem is that you're shaming yourself into believing that you're addicted to social media. So what if you spend 4 hours a day scrolling reels? So what if you spend 5 hours a day watching YouTube? What else were you going to do in that time, right? In my experience, as soon as somebody finds meaningful work, they're no longer addicted to social media. Let me give you my example. The past few days I've been filming these videos in a studio over here. I film about 15 videos a day. That's about 3 hours of content, which takes about 6 hours to shoot, including scripting and everything else, right? Including setting up the camera, the lights, changing the batteries and all of that. I've not watched any TikTok or not even one full YouTube video in this time. I've not spent maybe 30 minutes watching social media. The reason is I do not have the time for it. And it's going to be the same with you. So your job should not be to try to stop using social media. Like what else will you do? Sit in a room alone? Now that's a good thing. I do spend a lot of time sitting in rooms alone, and we're going to get to that in another video about how you can reset your mind and change the way you think and formulate good opinions. But if you're someone who uses social media a lot, odds are that you don't have anything meaningful to do. Odds are that you're stuck in some dead-end job where you can get away by just scrolling social media the whole day and your boss thinks you're working. Odds are you're stuck in a boring college which makes you do assignments like copying somebody else's assignment, and it's easier to just watch social media. So your job is not to stop watching social media. Don't do that. If you keep telling yourself don't think about social media, you're only thinking about social media. I remember an interesting example of this is when I was free diving, when I was learning how to hold my breath longer, I would keep telling myself, don't think about breathing, don't think about breathing. And then I could only hold my breath for like 45 seconds. But then later what I started to do is I started to do some visualization. I started counting. I started doing different techniques and I was not telling myself about breathing. And then I could hold it for like 2.5, 3 minutes. Here is my basic guide on how to manage your time on social media. And honestly, we've all done it. We've all had those days when our screen time is 14 hours. We've all had those days when we scroll TikTok for probably 4 or 5 hours a day and Instagram Reels or whatever is in your country. The only thing that you cannot do is be disrespectful. If you're out in a meeting, your phone has to be in your pocket, not even on the table. You should not even be able to look at your phone. In fact, when somebody keeps their phone on the table and every time the notification rings, they just look at their phone, I find it extremely disrespectful because you are telling me that you care more about that notification than you care about your time with me. And I know we've all been in the social situation where the person can't just get over their phone and they don't know how to converse. As long as you're not that, you're good. As long as you have the conversational skills, as long as you have the charisma, the personality, it doesn't really matter how much social media you watch. Who cares if while you're sitting on the toilet you watch 200 reels? Like that's totally fine. Everybody's doing it. I mean, I can't remember the last time I've been sitting on the toilet without a phone. That's probably before I had a phone when I was like 12 years old. The next thing you need to internalize is that social media is creating a huge gap between creators and consumers. So if your net is creator positive, then you want to be on social media. If net you're creating more content than you're consuming, you're good. But if net you're creating zero amounts of content and you're just consuming content, it's not going to work for you. So you need to see how many hours worth of content are you pushing out. Obviously, it's not as if you're pushing out 15 minutes of content, then you have to have 15 minutes of consumption. It's not that doesn't make sense. But you need to net realize that you're more of a creator and less of a consumer. As a social media consumer, you need to be very active on social media. You need to not just be engaging with your community, but you also need to understand what other creators are doing. That being said, my logic around social media and my logic around content creation is slightly different. I like to shield my eyes. I like to not look at other people's opinions. I like to not look at other people's social media. I like to formulate my own opinions. See, there are many ways of doing it, but the only thing you should not be doing is making yourself feel guilty. As long as you're creating content, as long as you're respectful in social situations, as long as it's not as if you're in a bedroom with someone and you're just scrolling social media because you just need that one last fix because whatever else is happening in the bedroom does not give you enough dopamine as compared to fucking one more TikTok, you're good. Honestly, my social media, I spend about 2 to 3 hours a day on it. And out of those 2 to 3 hours a day, I spend at least 1 hour looking at my own social media. Now, earlier I used to think I'm so self-centered and I only care about myself, but I don't think that anymore. Because every time I look at my own social media, especially if I look back, 2 years earlier as to what I used to post, and this is mainly on Twitter and LinkedIn, I kind of see how my mindset has evolved. And I can kind of make predictions as to how my mindset is going to evolve in the future as well. For me, every 6 months, if I look back at a 6-month older version of me, I think what an idiot that guy was. And now I have undeniable proof that 6 months ago I was an idiot. And 6 months before that I was another idiot. And 6 months before that I was another idiot. And just having this kind of insight and self-awareness is really good. And the funniest thing I see is these reels which will say like these very, very sounding logic kind of things where they'll say, oh, you have this much time in the universe and blah, 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 and you choose to look at your phone. Yeah, I choose to look at my phone and there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, I don't understand how people can not be active on social media. If I text you on WhatsApp, I expect a response within 5 minutes. And who isn't looking at their phone every 5 minutes? You have to be a sociopath or a psychopath to not be able to respond. I have a friend who does not talk to anybody. He does not spend any time interacting with people, and I'm the only person on his WhatsApp. In fact, his WhatsApp truly just has like one contact and some WhatsApp groups, and he's archived all the groups, so I didn't even know what happens in WhatsApp if you have just one contact. And still he responds to me within 5 minutes. Easily. Being active and creating fast communication is a benefit of social media. It's not a curse. It's not something that's wrong with you that you're spending large amounts of time on social media. When I was 5 years old, my parents used to say, don't read books, go outside and play. And I would fight with them. Oh, I want to read this Harry Potter, just one more chapter. Oh, I want to read Percy Jackson. I remember once my dad even ripped apart a book because I would spend too much time reading the book. Crazy, right? And this was the mindset of everyone back then. In 2015, when I was 15 years old, the mindset changed. It was, don't watch YouTube videos, read books instead. So now my parents are giving me books. Please read this book. You wanted to read this book when you're 5 years old. Now why do you not want to read it anymore? Okay, now 2023. People will say, don't watch reels, watch long form YouTube videos and podcasts instead. So at some point of time, people are going to say, don't do X, do reels instead. There is going to come a point of time when people will say, just watch reels instead. And this is exactly why I get all my information from reels. I don't watch any YouTube videos. I definitely don't read books. And the last thing I will ever do is go outside and play. I mean, I don't really have friends. So just because some random loser in the world is feeling guilty about spending 8 hours a day on social media doesn't mean you have to feel guilty. As long as you're respectful, as long as you have boundaries, as long as you have nothing better to do, just do it. But yeah, your goal should be to find meaningful work. If you want to know how to find this meaningful work and how to make money and how to get your life back in shape, then you should definitely check out my other videos. I make more videos about making money than about this whole self-improvement thing. I would love some feedback about how I can improve the quality of my videos. I would truly appreciate that. Thank you.